What if I told you that I'm saving over 30% of my income every single month, and yet I still go out to eat, travel to new places, and buy things I genuinely want? No, I didn't win the lottery, and I'm not living in my parents' basement. I discovered something that completely changed my relationship with money, and it has nothing to do with those extreme frugality hacks you see all over the internet. I'm not eating ramen for every meal or giving up my morning coffee. Instead, I learned to make my money work smarter, not harder, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a complete roadmap to save more money without feeling like you're constantly depriving yourself. Let me take you back to where this all started. 2 years ago, I was living paycheck to paycheck, despite having what I considered a decent income. I looked at my bank account every month and wondered where all my money went. I wasn't buying expensive designer clothes or driving a luxury car. I was just living what I thought was a normal life. But here's the thing. I had fallen into the trap that catches most people. I was spending money on autopilot, never really questioning my habits or looking for smarter alternatives. The turning point came when I calculated that I had spent over $4,000 in the previous year on subscriptions and services I barely used. That number hit me like a ton of bricks. That's when I realized I didn't have a spending problem. I had an awareness problem. The first thing I did was conduct what I call a money audit. I sat down with 3 months of bank statements and color-coded every single expense. Essentials like rent and utilities got one color. True enjoyment expenses like dining out with friends or concert tickets got another. And then there was this massive third category, things I spent money on out of habit or convenience, but didn't actually add value to my life. This third category was eye-opening. According to a study by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spends approximately 9% of their income on food, with a significant portion going to restaurants and takeout. But here's what I discovered. Not all restaurant meals were created equal in terms of enjoyment. Some dinners out with friends were incredible experiences I treasured. Others were just me being too tired to cook on a Tuesday night, eating mediocre food alone while scrolling through my phone. Same cost, completely different value. So I made my first big change. I started applying what I call the joy per dollar test to every purchase. Before buying anything beyond my basic necessities, I asked myself a simple question. Will this purchase bring me joy that's proportional to its cost? This isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. I realized I could cut my restaurant spending by 40% just by meal prepping for those lazy weeknight dinners, while still fully enjoying my social dining experiences. That simple shift saved me over $200 a month without any feeling of sacrifice. In fact, I enjoyed my meals out even more because each one felt special rather than routine. Next, I tackled the subscription monster that's quietly draining bank accounts everywhere. Research from the market research company C+R Research found that consumers underestimate how much they spend on subscriptions by over $200 per year on average. I was definitely part of that statistic. I had a gym membership I used maybe twice a month, 3 different streaming services, when I really only watched one regularly, a meal kit subscription that I kept skipping, and various app subscriptions I had completely forgotten about. I canceled everything I hadn't actively used in the past month. For fitness, I switched to outdoor running and free YouTube workout videos, which I actually enjoyed more than the gym. I kept one streaming service and rotated it every few months to catch up on different shows. Just like that, I freed up $150 every month. But here's where things get really interesting. I didn't just stop spending that money. I redirected it. This is the crucial part that most savings advice misses. People tell you to cut expenses, but they don't tell you what to do with that freed up money, so it just gets absorbed into random spending. I opened a high-yield savings account separate from my checking account. According to the FDIC, the average savings account interest rate in the United States hovers around 0.4%, but high-yield savings accounts from online banks can offer rates above 4%. I set up automatic transfers the day after my paycheck hit. The money I was saving from my subscription cancellations and smarter food choices went straight into that account before I could even think about spending it. Then I discovered something that sounds counterintuitive, but changed everything. I gave myself a guilt-free spending allowance. Every month, I allocated a specific amount of money, around $200, that I could spend on absolutely anything I wanted without judgment or tracking. This was my fun money. Want a fancy coffee? Don't. See a cool gadget online? If it fits in my fun money budget, go for it. This psychological trick worked wonders. According to research in behavioral economics, people are much more likely to stick to financial plans when they don't feel completely restricted. That guilt-free spending allowance satisfied my desire for spontaneity and prevented the deprivation mindset that causes people to abandon their savings goals entirely. I also got strategic about my biggest expenses. Housing, transportation, and insurance are typically the top 3 expenses for most households. While I couldn't immediately change my rent, I could optimize other areas. I called my car insurance company and asked about discounts. Just by bundling my renter's insurance with my auto insurance and agreeing to paperless billing, I reduced my premium by 18%. That's nearly $300 a year for a 30-minute phone call. I refinanced my car loan when interest rates dropped, shaving $50 off my monthly payment. These aren't sexy changes, but they're the ones that actually move the needle. Transportation was another area ripe for optimization. The American Automobile Association estimates that the average cost of owning and operating a vehicle is over $10,000 per year when you factor in payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance. I couldn't give up my car entirely because of where I live, but I could reduce my usage. I started combining errands into single trips, carpooling with coworkers twice a week, and actually using that bike I had bought years ago for trips under 2 miles. These small changes cut my monthly gas bill by almost 40%. Plus, I felt healthier and was doing something positive for the environment. Triple win. One of my favorite discoveries was what I call strategic splurging. Instead of constantly buying small things that gave me tiny hits of happiness, I started saving for larger experiences or items that would bring lasting satisfaction. Research published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology shows that people derive more long-term happiness from experiential purchases than material ones. So I cut back on impulse purchases of clothes I'd wear once or gadgets I'd forget about, and instead saved for a photography workshop I had always wanted to take and a weekend trip to a national park. When those experiences finally happened, they felt incredibly rewarding because I had consciously chosen them over dozens of mindless purchases. The memories I created have lasted far longer than any random stuff I could have bought. I also learned to embrace the waiting period. Whenever I wanted to buy something over $50 that wasn't essential, I implemented a 72-hour rule. I'd add it to a list and wait 3 days. According to consumer behavior research, this simple cooling-off period eliminates up to 70% of impulse purchases. Most of the time, the initial excitement faded, and I realized I didn't actually want the item. When I still wanted it after 3 days, I bought it without guilt, knowing it was a considered decision rather than an impulse. This one habit has probably saved me thousands of dollars and counting. The results of all these changes have been remarkable. Within 6 months, I went from saving essentially nothing to consistently putting away 35% of my income. My emergency fund went from non-existent to covering 6 months of expenses. I paid off my credit card debt completely, and here's the best part: my quality of life actually improved. I'm not exaggerating. By cutting out the things that didn't matter and being intentional about what I kept, every dollar I spend now brings me genuine satisfaction. I'm not constantly worried about money anymore. I sleep better at night knowing I have a financial cushion. I enjoy my purchases more because they're conscious choices rather than autopilot spending. The transformation wasn't about deprivation. It was about awareness, intentionality, and making my money reflect what I actually value. You don't need to live like a minimalist monk or give up everything you enjoy. You just need to get honest about what truly brings you joy and what's just costing you money out of habit or convenience. If you found this helpful and want to take control of your finances, without sacrificing your lifestyle, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. I'm creating more content on personal finance, smart money habits, and building wealth without burning out. Give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to save smarter, not harder. And drop a comment below telling me which of these strategies you're going to try first. Your future self will thank you for watching this video today. I'll see you in the next one, where we'll talk about how to increase your income without getting a second job. Until then, spend intentionally and save purposefully.